Hey, what's up? It's Panzergoods here, back with some more World of Warplanes. And in this video, I want to talk about how to get out of turn fights or circle of deaths. So the idea is, well, first of all, I don't like turn fighting. I try to avoid it at all costs. And the idea is, whenever you're going against someone, all they do is just turn, turn, turn. There's no other strategy involved. So I don't really get into turn fights unless I feel pretty good about winning it, and that's like what I want to do. I don't just turn fight for everything. So in this game, I'm in the Vampire, which is like when it came out was one of the OP tier 8 light fighters, and I'm going against a P88. So we'll just fast forward this a little bit. I get the first garrison, and then I'm heading over to the other garrison because my thinking is at the opening of the game, I like to take bases that are held by the enemy versus neutral ones, because you're taking something away from them and gaining versus just gaining something yourself. So if we look out for this a little bit, I'm going after some of the ADA. I make a pass, get one there, put in some work in. Okay, no big deal. There's a GA, but I'm gonna leave them till last. And there's 30 capture points left, so I need to get this last ADA here. They're worth 40. And they just always find a way to avoid you. And then I almost crash. I just pulled up in time. And we got the base, so no big deal. Let's move on to the next one. And for some reason, this IL-20 is deciding to try to shoot me down, which is not a good idea. And I see the F7F, and then I notice the P80 is coming on my flank here. And of course, these two guys are in a flight, so the P80 is covering his GA. So I notice him, and I make one pass on the heavy fighter, and then I immediately break toward the enemy. Whenever you're firing at something, that's when you're most vulnerable to attack. So the best way to avoid the attacks coming into you is just to turn into them. Give them something harder to shoot at. So I turn into him. I do a pretty good job of avoiding. And then I'm thinking, okay, I don't know if he's not specialized. So I'm thinking I could win this fight. So I go into kind of like a vertical turn using my rudder. You see I'm kicking the rudder out there. But with the camera angle, because it's so vertical, I'm not really used to it as much. I get kind of turned around, and I'm kicking the rudder out the opposite direction. So here now I know, like, okay, I'm kind of in trouble. See how I turned? I switched the turn. That's something you do not want to do, because you gave them a chance to fire. And sure enough, he gets an angle on me here. Takes out a little chunk there. Luckily nothing was crit. And here I'm realizing, okay, I made a mistake. I'm in this circle of death. So I tried to go horizontal. I tried to forget the vertical that I was doing. It wasn't working. Let's see if I can just pull some of the rudder to get it better horizontal. And then there's a bunch of enemies in the area. There's 4 of them, and he's calling them on me as I'm calling mine on him. But there's only one heavy fighter on my side. And it's not easy for a bot heavy fighter to get a light fighter. Whereas I have this multi-roll on me. And then they got the sector. So sure enough, this is not going to end well for me. I'm just going to keep going in circles, and little by little, the ADA or the other multi-rolls, they're just going to chip away at me, and I'm going to die for nothing. It's pretty much a waste. But he's also wasting his time, because he already capped this. There's no strategic point to just try to kill me right here. I'm not really doing anything, they already got it. So I know that he's content with just doing this the rest of the game. I could just tell. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to find a way out of here. I'm trying to get my rudder involved. I'm taking more damage. My pilot is out. I'm pitching up, try to get the rudder over, and I think I do get a shot off here. But for sure, I know this isn't going to end well for me. I need to find a way to get out of this. So if you're in a circle of death with another fighter, most likely you guys are going to be relatively the same speed, because if you're faster than the other aircraft, then there's no reason to turn fight with them. If you're slower than the other aircraft, most likely you can outturn them. So I think these planes are pretty much even in terms of turning and speed. In fact, he's turning a little bit better than me. So I think if I time it right when I'm facing down and I hit my boost, I think I can get away from him. Another thing that's helping me is he has machine guns that don't have that long of a range. So you see, I'm waiting for my boost to build up for a couple seconds too. I don't have a lot of time now. I'm getting shot from everywhere. I do a steep turn, and then now you see that I did a little like steeper turn down. I hit the boost cooler, and I'm out of here. There's nothing for me to do here. I'm low on health. I'm just gonna end up dying here. We have three caps and they have two garrisons. So this is my escape. And when you're facing down and the enemy's facing up, they still have to make that circle around. And whereas I'm just going straight down in a dive, gaining speed, and then by the time he lines up on me, he's over 800 meters away, and he's out of range. And I have 8 HP left, so I'm out of danger. So the next thing that he should do is go to another cap, but no, he just chases me. So right away when I see he's chasing me, I'm like, okay, he doesn't care about trying to win the game. He just wants to kill me just to kill me. So that's fine with me. I keep going, I maintain my speed, and I keep calling bots on him. I know it seems pointless sometimes, but if you do it enough, at some point a bot will respawn, and that's basically what I'm waiting for. The game is pretty much over. Uh, he was just chasing me halfway across the map. So this engagement is still kind of going on, and then I see the heavy fighter is taking him out. So now this is my chance to come forward. My team's ahead, so the pressure's not on me to try to cap other stuff. He takes out the bot that was on him, and then now I just have to make sure I hit him on this pass. And there you go. And then immediately a multi-roll is on me. But the cap is gonna reset in about 10 seconds. So instead of killing him straight away, I wait until the cap resets down to 0. See, 1, 0. Okay, and then I kill him. That's 60 capture points just by waiting a few more seconds. And that's something a lot of players don't do. They just would have killed him right away, and you lose out on getting some capture points. So I killed that multi-roll for 60 capture points. I get this ADA. I'm on super low health. Go after the next ADA. And just like that, I capped the garrison from just waiting. As you can see, we had two vampires, so that's a tall order for any team. And looks like we were just, our team was just out ahead early on this game. But I just wanted to show you that's one way to get out of the circle of death. All right, so here we are in the second clip. I'm in the Tier 5 BF-109E. It's a Tier 5 game. I have another BF-109E and the P-40. So those are my two planes to note. I could outturn the P-40 and the BF-109E. I'm thinking it would be an even fight. So with this type of map, 2 missile bases and 2 garrisons, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to go straight to the enemy missile base. I'm going to use my boost and I'm going to get there as quickly as possible. And I'm not trying to cap that missile base right away, but what I'm trying to do is disrupt them from capping it. If I can like kill a bomber, kill a couple of aircraft in there, and the first wave of them, they don't get to cap it, that's just extra time that our base, okay, is capping it. But one other thing I want to mention, you see how I'm flying toward the missile base? And you see they started capping it already, right? You see that? Once I saw that, hit tab and look at which enemy players have points. So right away that tells me I know the P40 is here, and most likely the BF109 is here, or one of them at least. I know for sure the bombers aren't there yet. See, no bombers have anything. The GA have a couple things, but that's like at least a quarter of it, you know? So I know most likely these two guys are there. So that's how you kind of have to look at the early game. When you see something being capped, look at what's going on. Well, I guess technically they could be there too. So I know most likely one of these guys is causing all this damage. So that gives you a little clue. So straight away, I see the bomber coming in. It's a tier 4. And this is going to be super easy. I see a tier 4 0. And I see the P40. So I was half right on one of those. And right now, I know they have a little bit of time. I have a little bit of time before they get up to reach me because they're climbing. So you see how they're almost going to cap the base? I mainly want to disrupt them. I don't want to get into a dogfight with these guys. I just want to disrupt them from capping it. So my number one goal was to get this bomber. So I'm not paying attention to the P40. Luckily, I got some help from from my heavy, and I think that's a pretty good disruption there. So I'm pretty content with this right now. And then as you see, the P40 is hot on my tail. So I keep climbing, and then when I look again, I know there's there's no chance in hell that the Zero is going to catch me up here. But the P40 has better, if not the same altitude performance as me. But I know I can outturn him. So I made the mistake of doing that. I got caught on fire. I'm coming back down, and I'm trying to position for a turn fight. So here we are. We are locked in a turn fight now that I'm pretty sure I'll win. I overturned here by a lot, and that's a big mistake. I should have stopped using the rudder there. So that's number one big mistake right there. I gave up a lot of ground on that overturn. And then look how much rudder he's using. He's basically pointing downward. I don't know. I've never seen a plane fly downward like that. But okay, at this time, I'm thinking if I keep following the P40, he's just gonna drag me down lower and lower, because you see his nose is pointing down, and I'm just gonna get killed by this bomber coming in, the ADA or the AA, and plus the lower he brings me, the closer I am to the Zero. So it's two versus one. Well, technically 3 versus 1. Where's that heavy? So at this time, I make the decision. I need to get out of the circle of death, and I need to make a bold move. And that bold move is ignoring the P40, killing this Zero because I know they're very delicate, and trying to dive away. So I ignore the P40, and I go after the Zero, and sure enough, I put him away without much issue. The P40 is still coming around. He's still not on my tail, and I have 4 seconds until I could use my boost cooler. So I'm waiting, activate the boost cooler, and now I'm diving away. I got 10 seconds of boost. He's following me, and what did I do? My plan worked. I disrupted them capping their base, and secondly, I'm taking away 2 other fighters from the area. Look at all these ground targets. You could probably take those out with just regular guns, and they can probably get that. But getting out of that circle of death, I'm taking fighters away from that. So I'm just trying to stay alive as long as possible. I dive to use the mountains. And right now there's no point to chase me. Why chase a fighter with 11 HP, you know? Go back and get the military base. So you could use like stuff like this in your favor. The Zero shows up again. I don't know if he's gonna chase me too. Oh yeah, Zero chases me too. He's not landing any shots. So I have like at one point three enemy aircraft chasing me. I'm hugging the mountain to make myself a harder target. My wingtips scratching the ground, and they're still chasing me. And then finally, oh, what got me? The hurricane. A hurricane over here. So let's take a look at the map. My team got this military base that they should have went back to defend, and my team's going to be getting this pretty soon. All because of that circle of I wanted to disrupt, circle of death, and I made the choice to take out the zero and escape. So even though I got destroyed here, I took them out of their game, and now they're at their own garrison that they have recapped already. So there's nothing for them to really do here. I took the initiative, I took the risk, and I got out of that circle of death, and I helped our team get the missile base, and we end up getting the other one, and we end up winning this game. So in conclusion, this wraps up the circle of death video. Just as a rule of thumb, if you're faster than another aircraft, don't turn fight. If you're slower and the situation's right, most likely you could win that turn fight. But if you are pretty much evenly matched, like I was in those two instances, wait until you're facing down, the enemy's facing up. If you have the boost cooler, use it. If your aircraft has a pretty good dive speed, if you're not a good dive speed, then just keep calling for help and just hope that it works out. But otherwise, that will be pretty much it for this one. I can't really say when the next one will be. This is kind of just a random thing. But there you are. See you guys next time. Peace.